Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Propagandacast. Me, host Imperial Dane. We're off here to a Monday novice fight. Yes, the novice fight. So for those of more squeamish and sensitive manners and wills, kindly switch off right now and go do something like, I don't know, knitting. For those who do have the stomach and the wills to handle something a lot less professional like this, then keep watching and try to learn a bit. We're watching here Quintii fighting for the United States of America, fighting for the 90th Infantry Division. Old box and commanders there versus VersedHorizon, fighting for Germany's Reich for the Kampfgruppe with mechanized Jäger armor and assault support under his command. He's on the way already. Interesting note, he's by the way taking this point. He's not, say, going for this point and then immediately for the few point. Again, already there's something I would argue is a bit of an odd capturing order. Generally, most players of any sort of sensible capabilities, unless they aim for something specifically else, will go straight for the few point. It generally tends to be a good startup anyways for a novice player. Aim for the few instead. What do we see here? He's heading straight for the victory point. No. Oh, yes, he is. And certainly, I mean, for some players it might be seeming you go for the victory point right away, but generally, unless it's very close to your base, you know, then you're better off going for the fuel point, if that's also a bit close to your base. I mean, overall, he's not going to be gaining, for example, a lot of resources compared to his opponent due to this, who's in fact already got more points, in fact, more resource points. In fact, he's sort of heading here. I mean, already then there seems to be sort of very little key to his sort of capturing order. He's just sort of heading forwards, but he's got no overall plan here. Rather than moving straight up to the Pioneers here, and right here, that's a bit of a dangerous thing to do. I mean, Pioneers up close can be dangerous if they're in heavy cover due to the submachine guns. I mean, using up riflemen, so that could have ended up a bit more badly, though in this case he actually shifts his Pioneers around, which overall gives the rifleman advantage. In fact, he moves them further away, which is only to the advantage of riflemen. I mean, you know, it always helps to have sort of a bit of idea how weapons work. You know, submachine guns, as hopefully some people should know, work best up close. So instead he's going and doing what actually makes them less effective. I'm sort of forcing here to sort of emphasize things sort of go a bit more focused. And right here he should just retreat. In fact, he just managed to barely do there. He turned a fight where he might have been able to deal some damage to the rifleman before retreating into a fight where he basically suffered more damage than he actually did to his opponent. Lots of guns are going in. And again, there's no overarching capturing order here for VersedHorizon. He's just sort of running here and there already, some units being spread north. There's no focus, there's no control, there's no real coherence. There's no strategy or no tactics, it would seem, from VersedHorizon. He's just running all over the place. Rear echelon troops though here, making a bit of a nasty discovery as the Ranger gun is the counter case, quickly felling Jack, leaving us there to wonder a bit what to do, and then immediately firing off there, hammering down on the M1 carbine, which causes him to fall back, though note if he just moved up a bit closer could probably kill them before they're able to suppress the units. Gunners holding up here, going for the territory there. Rather forced a bit back, so Case was seemingly establishing a bit more of a hard precision. He's getting more grenadiers, no heavy machine guns so far, just grenadier spam. Wagner versus grenadiers out in the open. The grenadiers already rapidly losing out in the open. No, you generally don't want to be standing out in the open. Don't want to be standing out in the open. He takes no chance at, say, taking up cover. I mean, you know, generally when you set up to sort of take a point, it's generally the idea to sort of seek out the closest cover and then sort of assume, well, where could my opponent arrive from? In this case, he sort of seen this point blinking, so he should at least set up positions here or here, since again the most general positions would have been from here. And of course, in that case, it was from here, and you come from here, he could have only switched over to there, but instead, you know, he decided to stand out here in the very open when there's no cover. And while Quintii himself all started out there, at least he had a bit more of a sharper sense and actually pulled into the cover. And now he moves into cover. Now, after he's lost half the entire unit. Unit preservation matters, using cover matters an awful lot. I mean, it always pains me to see someone who clearly has a very thin grasp on the whole cover utilization in a game like this. Right near, they're beginning to lose out versus units in heavy cover, as to be expected in the longer term. Goes on to nearby building up, moving up there, taking up position like cover versus units in heavy cover again. Now things is actually not looking that strong for Quintii all of a sudden. So here there's might be a slight advantage for VersedHorizon, trying to sort of win a more serious engagement, goes continuing up north. But again, also pushing across all the front again, much easier. He's overall just hammering away at VersedHorizon, forcing squads back easily. Overall, limiting how much terrain can be gained. And out here, Quintii makes a bit of a mistake. He actually takes up position in the building, but doesn't apparently note the number of windows or where they are positioned overall, meaning these rifles actually end up doing a lot less damage than they do over there. Sure, they take less, but in the longer run, the effect really won't be to their advantage. More riflemen arriving, MG42 moving in as well. And there we go. Dieter fell out the window in a rather dramatic way. MG4 setting up here, continuing the pressure here. Going for the fuel point here, somehow managing. And these might want to be considered pulled up soon, and they're going for 40s firing up close. The rifle, in fact, too close, so already here. They aim for 40s will do a bit of damage, and they're going for 42 firing in as well. Rifle as well. Lots of windows here. Again, you always want to be wary around a building with a lot of windows, in particular like this. And there we go. Squad lost. He was simply too slow in retreating. He rather ought to realize this could have happened. So right there, that was a lot of manpower wasted. Units attacking here, Lieutenant moving in. And clearly VersedHorizon isn't paying attention. That is one reason you should be careful of doing one thing, in particular if you're sort of in the lower levels of skill that is spread out too far. That is, you try to sort of hold too much of the map, you try to manage too many units across too large of a frontage, which means you're more likely to lose grasp of one unit and quickly lose it, like say happens here. So the Lieutenant quickly moves in, and there we go, too late in retreating. So while he was able to cut off at the same time, I don't think that short of a fuel cut off is worth 240 manpower in a squad like that. But now he's sort of gaining back the other territory. He was able to sort of win this engagement finally, force back his opponent, and gain a bit of a breather. But over here, of course, he sort of realised his opponent has teched up. We are seeing a Lieutenant, of course, that is the clearest indicator there. So of course, he has gone for the platoon command post, which of course can mean M20s, heavy machine guns, of course, the AA half-track. And sort of noting our opponent here, so far there's no sign of taking up on the other hand, at least initially. Riflemen re-echelon troops moving in. Gunners here need to fall back already. They're all being outnumbered. Instead, he's pulling across the open. And of course, that's a dangerous maneuver you have to be careful around because you can't shoot back and you're on target. You're an easy target, in fact. So really should have instead he ended up losing another man for no good reason. Which is sort of one thing, you know, unit preservation should teach you not to do. Again, unit preservation is all about preserving your units, ensuring you always get the most out of killing them without suffering too many losses. Instead, VersedHorizon seems almost to be doing the exact opposite at times. Now go again, units in cover, units with machine guns, and he's going to again be engaged. He should just retreat. Instead, he moves away.
Half-track is ready for orders.
Anti-aircraft half-track arriving for Quintii. Then he's down here again, also wiped out. He's sending a unit with low health, low numbers up to have take points there. Very far away again. Poor unit preservation. Poor unit preservation. Always try to, you know, take consideration into these things and try not to throw away units. I mean, he's already lost several Grenadier squads. Senselessly, he's only gotten one rifleman squad really wiped out in return. We're also seeing infantry company S-Materials, not machine gunning, and there you go, Grenadiers charging across home ground. Sure, it's echelon troops, so of course it's less hazardous, but even then, it's generally not really a sound tactic. Rifleman going off, and there you go, going into tank versus again cover over ground, and again more dangerously versus a unit with automatics, in particular BAR. This is over again another poor tactical move. Generally, you always want to attack through cover, say for example going up through here, where he would have been in cover himself, thus having a bit better chance of actually doing some damage. Panzergun is now out. He should have realised again, he ought to have seen and heard that AA half-track shooting. So for him to get Panzergun is right off the bat is a bit of a strange move, though VersedHorizon seems no less versed in strange moves. Panzergun is here charging in. In this case, of course, they might be able to close in, but again, out in the open. Out in the open. Target is charging versus right here. In this case, interesting enough, Quintii seems to lose his nerve. He could actually keep firing with the Lieutenant, and he could probably done a lot of damage to the Panzerguns, maybe even wipe them out instead, though he ends up retreating. So that was actually an odd decision there. There was no real reason to lose heart like that. My best guess, of course, this could also have been a bit of a misclick there. But rapidly, VersedHorizon is always losing territory again, the massive unit losses, and the way it's sort of been moving across the map, really not very coherently, only leaving the advantage in the hands of the opponent. Quick bomb grenade here. Doing nicely, doing nicely. No idea why I didn't continue up here, closing in on them, instead taking all the way, longer way around there, and now taking up positions in the house. Seems again not very clear there. More grenadiers arriving. We also can hear that Quinty's just got lone units standing about all of a sudden. At the very least, he could pull back the riflemen for some reinforcing.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Lieutenant here, you're being the Pioneers, getting the Pioneers not in a good condition. VersedHorizon should have been machine those for reinforcement at the very least. And there we go. So again, once more, not really securing any serious fuel income. Going to attack down here, and immediately encountering the AA half-track. Taking heavy damage. Almost entire squad wiped out. Again, there's no real coherence. He's just sort of sending squads singularly here and there, which is overall not the best way to play with the Wehrmacht. With the Wehrmacht, you really want to play coherently. You want squads covering each other, ready to support and provide fire. Instead, he's doing it quite the opposite, ensuring there's never one squad that can support the other, which overall makes those smaller squad numbers a lot more easily exploitable for Quintii, since again, he can easily cripple a squad and force it back without it doing much. And now the Panzers, he's running to a building for no clear apparent reason. He's moving on from the north. And again, no cover. Not the slightest. In this case, his opponent's a bit low on health, but even then, machine guns on the Lieutenant moving back forces him to fall back again. Second Panzer gun squad here for VersedHorizon. Territory still falling back. Over to VersedHorizon again. Lieutenant now charging in versus unit in cover. I mean, sure, with the Lieutenant does have a better chance of doing some damage getting close to him in the end, but in the end, again, poor unit preservation here, although Quintii himself displayed some rather poor tactics. Had those grenadiers had a light machine gun, he'd probably been wiped out. Instead, though, he was wiped out. And also seems to not consider his opponent. Maybe he was taking down the half-track here to hold the fuel point, instead moving in the Pioneer unit, and apparently some Panzer checks up on those Panzer grenadiers. But again, another ghost squad here getting absolutely pummeled. He just keeps at it. Pioneers as well. He's trying to run all over the place, and again, he's not really succeeding much anywhere. I mean, he's trying to do too much with too little. And thus he ends up succeeding in no endeavours, as he keeps on losing ground and keeps on losing manpower and units. I mean, he's already lost 3 squads, I think, whereas his opponent's only lost 1. And also in terms of overall damage done, I mean, he's really been sort of on the shorter end of things. Hey, machine gun setting up here.
Standing by.
Panzers here could try and sort of move over here, sneak up into the building and that way fire away at the half-track, but instead he's doing what? I wonder, because it's not clear to me. Panzer is here, rather moving up. And they actually move closer to the Panzer when heavy cover. That could actually be to the advantage of the Panzer grenadiers here. Riflemen themselves also low on health, and they actually end up taking quite a bit of damage here to the Sturmgewehrs. Another bun grenade. Riflemen barely make it out, but we do see a scout car or M20 utility car moving up the 50 caliber. Panzers, for some reason, should consider pulling back. In fact, move up the ones with the Panzerschreck to deal with it. Come on, VersedHorizon. Again, he really seems to need to work on his management of units. He seems to react very slowly to anything that happens. And which again, probably is not helped by the fact he's trying to manage them across too much terrain. Now he's not clear what he's doing again. He should have been aware of the half-track here, so no idea why he's bringing the Panzer gunners like that. And these Pioneers moving from the north. Panzers. Again, I have no clear idea what he's doing. Getting suppressed here. I suppose he could try and Panzer pass here with the grenadiers. M20 supporting, firing. Panzer is already taking heavy damage. He should just retreat them. Zurückfallen. Come on, VersedHorizon. Bringing the Pioneers up there. Taking back some territory here and there. Sort of doing alright, I suppose. Panzer is failing to do anything. Half-track almost knocked out. I suppose he could try and get off another Panzerfaust and finish the deed. Except he's not. May has already arrived here for Quintii, so he's already sort of aggressively teched up within the first few minutes, the first 30 minutes, which again is rather happenable due to the fact that again that VersedHorizon hasn't been able to pressure much. And there you go, another Panzerfaust, getting the half-track. Panzer is not retreating, and he's running out in the open world. Versus the 50 caliber M20. What are you doing, mate? That was just senseless. Again, unit preservation does not seem to be VersedHorizon's strong suit. I mean, he's clearly too ambitious for his own good. He seems to think, he wants to play like one of the, pros, but he's clearly not got the skills to sort of hand it off. I mean, he should play according to his own strengths. Instead, he's playing off, well, to his weaknesses, which is only making things a lot bloody easier for Quintii. I mean, one thing I would also stress is try to find your playstyle and then work your way from there. Currently, VersedHorizon is not. Though we do now see a support armor core up, so he'll be sort of somewhat equal in terms of armor. Alternating ambulance here. Medic's route. Neat little idea there. I mean, you can usually also then stuff something else into the ambulance here. Re-echelon units to sort of then have it work like an ambulance still. While the for example, the medics then can set the base healing troops. That doesn't quite seem to be happening either. But the map basically continues to be a patchwork for VersedHorizon. And to more or less time for the mid-game analysis here, counter-trading as well, not exactly good for the Germans. I mean, already note here, for some reason though, they've managed an almost equal kill and damage score somehow, though again, I imagine that largely comes down here to the AA half-tech, amongst other things, and some of the more silly assaults from Quintii. The overall, I mean, compared to each other, I mean, Quintii hasn't been throwing away entire units very often, whereas for VersedHorizon, that's rather been the rule more than the exception, sadly. So there are definitely some issues there. They're supposed to, to a certain extent, give VersedHorizon a bit of a chance to come back, but at the same time, maybe not. Since again, he's got a lot less to work with, and again, overall the losses are not that quite comparable. Since again, this doesn't tell, for example, that he's lost entire squads over and over again compared to his opponent. I mean, he's lost Panzer gunners now with Panzerschrecks. He's lost several Grenadier squads. I mean, he's just throwing away units again and again and again. So that's really something VersedHorizon to play. But again, he needs to sort of settle down on a small amount of territory. He should focus on this part of the map here. This part. Sort of set up a defense around here, and then something around here. Maybe some minefields around here would work out quite well for him, since his opponent probably would waltz right into them and get horribly murdered. He needs more infantry. He also needs some armor. A Panzer IV would certainly be a nice sort of steady in between. Something that could serve as a nice platform to sort of hold on desperately to, like a drowning man clinging to a piece of driftwood. There was more infantry. And also, we had 50 minutes in the game. He's not chosen a single commander. He really should consider that. Get something a bit more from that as well. I mean, it certainly isn't helping him that he's got no commander. I mean, considering his old situation, assault support or mechanized might be the better choices for different reasons. Assault support would give him the officer blitz, strafing run, so maybe a tiger in the longer run, whereas mechanized would be more about artillery spotting scopes, which would help sort of keep a bit better eye on things. The command tank might also prove helpful versus the enemy infantry as well. So I mean, there are a few things there, but he really needs to choose a commander, and he needs to sort of set up something a bit more defensive. He needs to play more coherently instead of just sending units all across the map and not paying attention to them. Again, don't play to more than you can actually manage, and again, VersedHorizon does this over and over again. I mean, Quintii certainly is also playing with a few issues, though. Let's have a look at this. I mean, for example, he's got his M20 here, but he's not moved it any further. It's an M20 utility card. It seems to be more using it as a bloody machine gun emplacement, and not a very well placed one either. It's over here, and it's not been moving any further than that. He could easily move it across the map, use it to sort of punish his opponent further, who's, by the way, finally gotten an anti-tank gun. But no aggressive play beyond that. He really should consider that. He's also got lots of munitions, say, upgrade further his troops. Say, for example, getting a Browning on the lieutenant would pay off greatly for him. Also get that ambulance recruit with some re-echelon troops and then moving up sort of further aggressive to support troops that way. I mean, otherwise, getting a Sherman right now or a Jackson could be a good move. I think the Sherman would sort of be able to more punish his opponent severely and without remorse. Of course, that might be another thing. Of course, it's also got a bit of artillery. He could certainly try and clear out the positions here with a rapid strike, which could leave his opponent quite sore. I mean, his infantry-wise, he's looking pretty good. So no issues there. Again, armor might be the better thing to aim for. Maybe a bit of light artillery, though. That would probably be better with the priest. The mortar half-track at the moment, not really that strong. So that's that. Back to VersedHorizon. Back to the fight. Back to this novice play. Finally, by the way, upgrading one Grenadier escort with a light machine gun. Only took him 15 minutes. Troops are making up, and there we go, calling in the artillery. The MD-42 apparently not spotting anything. He's got time to retreat, but instead, VersedHorizon's indifference or incompetence towards his troops keeps displaying. There we go. And the house collapses, leaving him short one MG crew. They do fancy the Panzer IV on the way. And again, barely any units. So again, while this might look somewhat equal, I mean, Quintii's really got the advantage. He's got the stronger side here. Can you say that thanks to light machine gun actually win over versus the rifleman here? Also due to the fact they went cover thanks to ditch their opponent was. But there we go, now moving out in the open. Again, another rifleman squad here with a Browning. Need to retreat. Retreat! Come on. And again, you know, he should have retreated there, but he didn't. Again, his unit preservation is absolutely awful. Rifleman versus Panzer, and by the way, on the wrong side of the cover, remember, cover is directional. And now going, in fact, wiped out. So right here, Quintii actually suffered another squad loss, though again, compared to his opponent, it's nothing. Panzer IV, the final arriving, should give you the Pentamount machine gun up there. Panzer should retreat for reinforcement and healing, I think. Then again, with the 22 and the rifleman largely out of cover, they might have a slight advantage. More grenadiers on the way. And there you go, rifleman forced off the field. Panzer should be pulled back for reinforcement. They're down to 2 men, and again, scout car does nothing, civil unity doing nothing. I mean, our Quintii is actually getting a bit too lax here, just doing nothing. Although upgrading the re-echelon troops with a Browning is not necessarily a bad idea, can sort of move them more as a support unit. Panzer IV moving in. He's actually popped out here with a bazooka, that's not bad. Anti-tank rifleman actually managed to connect with the Panzer IV. He could still blast away, he can actually kill a lot of riflemen, but he ends up pulling back here, maybe not a bad idea. Should get some pioneers to actually repair the thing though. Getting an MG-42 instead. Not looking good here for the Kampfgruppe. Moving down here to take a point, no light machine gun on these grenadiers, and again no cover for them. And by the way, I mean, one thing that Quintii really had sort of a huge gap was in fact anti-tank. In fact, now he's got a bit, but that's rather down to one guy named Joe with a bazooka. So that really ought to count as maybe a bit of an issue there for Quintii as well. I mean, had VersedHorizon played with his own a bit more competently, I think Quintii could already now be looking in a lot more dirt than he might have liked to. So far, I mean, again, VersedHorizon is rather failing in most regards, if one has to be honest. Oh, looks like he's actually adding 2 Brownings up for this unit. That's good. They're going to need to retreat. Again, you cannot win this fight. You have a veteran unit with 2 light machine guns. Rifle grenades won't help you much.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
In this case, looks like he managed not to lose a unit. Getting MD apparently cancelled for some pioneers. Good idea there. You want that Panzer IV on the field as quickly as possible. His only hope really rests on that Panzer IV doing as much damage to his opponent, wiping out as many units as humanly possible, killing, murdering its way through Quintii's forces, since Quintii is absolutely caught with his pants down in the tank department. Oh, never mind. He's got a Jackson now. So even that advantage, VersedHorizon was not capable of actually taking advantage of. And still no doctrine. Still no commander. There we go, though, nice hit on the rifleman. Quintii on the other hand seemingly acting like there's no Panzer IV out. Taking no greater precautions. Real units need to get away. Now he's not using cover and he's not caring about the Panzer IV. Don't move towards the Jackson! No idea why he's doing that. Apparently, again, the unit preservation displayed here by VersedHorizon strikes one as being non-existent. That's what we have to deal with the vehicle crew. Bazooka failed to penetrate the front arm out of the Panzerkampfwagen 4. Getting veterans to flee. Almost got them. In fact, he could have moved closer to them earlier and probably wiped them out, but never mind. Need to retreat, though. Down to 3 men. Low health, low health. VersedHorizon. Why do you hate your men like that? Sturmgeschütz on the way. Get those Panzergunners back. Get them back. Get them back. They've got a sliver of health. They're veterans free. You don't want to waste them. Come on. Show some concern, man, or do you work for the Russians? And there we go. Again, the unit preservation is simply not there. I mean, if there's one thing that one would have to whip into VersedHorizon, it would apparently be that. And now again, facing with one gun escort, a lieutenant and 2 rifleman squads. So apparently he's just gotten a ton of riflemen all of a sudden out the window. There we go. And again, hanging up for a rifleman, in this case, barely making again. Those that apparently have been born under a lucky star. Under the blessing of the devil, I'm not entirely sure. Sturmgeschütz arriving, a bit more armor here for the Kampfgruppe. Jackson holding about down here, not being repaired, by the way. He could at least consider that. Getting a Sherman. Going for the fuel here. Sturmgeschütz swinging in to deal with these stealing Americans. Holding around here so far. Apparently not moving despite the fire there from the Stuke. Hank had his head blown in. Oh, we can't see them anymore. Looks like we got some. No, apparently he decided he should have been there. Maybe attacking ground. Not a bad idea. At least he's got some idea of maybe what to do here. MG42 setting up. Interesting enough, he's not retreating, and he should take... Oh, there we go, they clumped up. Oh, dear. I mean, you know, I suppose that was more the units that they kept with him. Either way, though, don't take an assault gun lightly when you're out in the open. Those things are absolutely deadly to infantry if handled correctly. Also, Pinto-mounted machine gun up for that one. Panzer IV still being repaired. So around him. Not sure why sending in the MG42 like that. I mean, remember, your MG42 is not an infantry unit. It should not be leading the way. Infantry should be leading the way. It's a support unit. It supports other things. So right here, that was an utter waste. Going to say they're getting a big... Alright, the versus riflemen, although with veterans fleet and dual light machine guns, they're going to just don't stand much of a chance. In particular, since they don't have a light machine gun over there, and they need to pull back there. So Rückfallen. Another Panzergrenadier unit.
Send your orders.
Panzer IV almost gefechtsbereit. But again, large part of the map is largely American liberated territory.
Crew ready.
There we go. Retreats a bit sharper, a bit faster. Then proceeds to clump up a lot of units. Quickly, men. If we push our bodies tightly together, they will be able to resist the high closer rounds. Are you sure about that, Lieutenant? Yes. It's not because I enjoy the clustered up presence of men in a nervous situation. So right here, of course, his Stuke gets off a few easy hits there. I mean, he was lucky he didn't end up losing a lot more than just that, to be honest. But now it seems he's doing moving out here. Pack 40 moving in. Panzer IV. Panzer is here fighting away. Vehicle crew still hanging about there. And there you go, Panzer IV opening on the rifle. Need to pull back. Quickly, men. Retreat. Rather close that. And there you go, Panzer IV takes a hit. Needs to pull back. Jackson moving in. And right here, Quintii makes a mistake. And you know, what might that be? Well, he's sending in his tank destroyer first, not his tank for starters. He's also not playing to the strengths of the tank destroyer, like the M36 Jackson, which is range, speed, and power. Instead, he uses it basically to absorb the damage, which is what the M36 Jackson is not good at. So right here, I mean, he's playing the exact opposite of what you do, and he's actually giving VersedHorizon a chance of actually knocking out, thanks to the pack, the Stuke, and the Panzer IV all of a sudden being within range of it, which is not what you want to happen as a general rule of thumb. Also right here, the Panzer IV is activating anywhere close to Victory 2, which would mean, you know, higher armor, thus being a bit harder to deal with for some units. So right here, there's a bit of a massive blunder right there for Quintii. By the way, the M20 has still been abandoned. And there you go, Victory 2. Panzer IV, though, should get away. Panzer IV should get out of there.
A medium tank was just lost.
And there you go, knocked out with a bazooka. Again, unit preservation not necessarily Quintie's strong suit. I mean, VersedHorizon, but right here, of course, a bit more hard to say. But even then, he probably should have been pulling it back when he took some of those initial shots there. Instead, he just managed to sort of ensure there was no chance of saving that Betri 2 Panzer IV, which is an absolute shame. Rather than chasing most Panzergers, generally you don't want to charge into Panzergers with assault rifles. In this case, they're absolute low health, rather save the day here. Stu somehow survives, and now VersedHorizon actually has the armor advantage. Somehow. Gunners here with light machine guns versus rear echelon units. Rear echelons were not fully reinforced, by the way. Now the lieutenant's moving up, and the gunners move straight into them. Bad idea again. VersedHorizon once more displaying an absolute appalling sense of infantry tactics and what ranges are good for his units. Instead of trying to place with grenadiers with light machine gun strength, which is range, he round them up close. And now sending in his assault gun on his own, which is not really where it's strong either. It's not a tank, by the way, which is actually allowing the... There we go. Anti-tank rifle grenade, now bazookas as well. Overall, this assault gun is now in a lot of trouble. And VersedHorizon keeps on repeating mistakes. Still no commander, by the way. He could have gone mechanized and popped some smoke to try and get it out of there, but it's not happening. Instead, another MD-42. There we go, Stuke destroyed. Although I must admit, I do find it a bit weird. The Stuke should be seriously wrecked by a bazooka, since, well, it had the same frontal armor as a Panzer IV, which would at least give the bazooka a bit cause for pause. Panzer's moving up close here, forcing them away. Pioneers here losing out to Riflemen. Somehow things are still equal, which in some regards, you know, still spills poorly for VersedHorizon, but it also, you know, paints Quintii in a slightly disturbing light as well. That somehow he's still managing to sort of be kept at the same pace as an opponent who's got the same self-preservation as a lemming. .50 caliber has been all there all the time, not really managing much. Easily outflanked in this case. Rapidly losing territory. Victory points are ticking down as well here for VersedHorizon. He does not pursue though, allowing them to get into the building here, which is definitely going to make things worse for VersedHorizon's grenadiers. Machine gun there could be secured. Rifle grenade then, not entirely sure what he hoped to achieve with that, versus that larger building and the units in it. Jackson arriving, another Jackson. Clearly worried about any further armor from VersedHorizon, getting another Panzer IV. And the gunners here are unsurprisingly losing out in the open to a 50 caliber machine gun. Lieutenant might want to get away there. Panzer IV though should be careful as well. Pack 40 setting up. Jackson misses that close. Come on, Bobby. Again. Wow. Apparently he needs to issue classes in the US Army because he can't hit. Which of course also begs the question, why did they make someone nearsighted a gunner on a tank destroyer? That's visiting up positions, VersedHorizon out in the open. This could maybe work out. Plastering with bullets there. Bun grenade there, a bit too late. Not going to squad there, but again, VersedHorizon not really making much of any progress. We actually got the rifleman there, so that was another squad wipe.
They're down to 100 points.
There's still nothing quite to the same level of, well, basically negligence towards his own troops as VersedHorizon has managed to display.
Armor here.
In a manner most impressive as the points continue to tick down. Looks like he might actually try to flank here. Now that's actually interesting. charge across open ground, securing an MG42, but again not carrying cover, not carrying what his opponent has. Easily exposing his men here to Browning like machine guns and getting horribly murdered. MG there, getting dealt with. And again what's going on there? That really has to be the worst gun I've ever seen.
Press your attack. They're down to 50 points.
I mean, he's rather repeatedly managed to hit that Panzer IV. Back to VersedHorizon. Points are barely there anymore. He's still moving with the same alacrity as Syrup.
How can we help?
Now seems to be intent on making moves towards the northern. BP, despite the 50 caliber there, no move towards the southern MiG-2 point, which is easily unguarded. Capture now right belly for Quintii. I know Quintii sort of largely getting increasingly passive here as he's getting more confident. Oh, finally the Jackson hit. Finally. Someone managed to flank around here. Good job, good job. For once. So not like he's completely devoid of any tactics. It just seems to happen very rarely. Either way, it's game over. And there we go, game over here for VersedHorizon. An absolutely brutal and senseless loss right here. So many mistakes, so many novice moves, but at the same time it's not like his opponent was completely scot-free either. I mean, he gets a barely passing grade, but that's about it for Quintii. Some rather appalling armor tactics for that matter for him. Also some slightly odd decisions here and there, not fully usage of his units. A lot of units basically standing up, meaning a lot fewer units were fighting on the front line and thus taking all the beatings. To which extent, rather, to a certain amount, allowed VersedHorizon to sort of still hold out, despite having almost thrown away all of his units within the first 10 minutes. But really, I mean, again, the main issue here is, again, unit preservation, using cover and knowing when to retreat. And that's something apparently you have to repeat Monday Novice fight after Monday Novice fight after Monday Novice fight. I mean, you know, try to put a bit more effort into it, people. You know, again, try to read the situation and try to retreat in time. You know, Charles, check out better players and try to sort of look at when do they retreat. Because, you know, that can also teach you a lot about, you know, staying alive and not getting your men senselessly wasted here like VersedHorizon did. Also, of course, another thing is, you know, try not to keep sending in replays like this. I mean, I get a lot of this where basically, oh, this was a great fight, and then you sort of wonder, well, not really. Just your opponent was inept. And somehow you still managed to drag it out for this long. Which again, you know, Quintii did because apparently he could never really push in very hard or finish it, or, you know, not get men horribly murdered either. I mean, he had an M20 doing nothing, ambulance doing nothing, a lot of things doing nothing. He could also easily upgrade a lot more units with Brownings, yet he never did. Lieutenants, all that. I mean, he basically never really went in fully. He just sort of hung back and played it lazily. Which again, you know, versus a slightly more competent opponent, we would have been resulting in a total loss. I mean, had VersedHorizon been a bit more competent with his infantry armor, then Quintii would have lost. I mean, the only reason Quintii won this was because VersedHorizon was really that much more awful. I mean, he never chose a commander. Never, ever. I mean, that really ought to indicate something's not adding up there. So, there you go. I hope you've learned something from this, because that's rather the point of the Monday Novice fight. But apparently, I keep getting stuff like this, so apparently someone's not learning, which means I have to rather bring it up and, you know, dish out some harsh words, which again are stick to cover, know when to retreat. Learn when to retreat if you don't know. But again, stick to cover, which really was an issue to a large extent for VersedHorizon, but to a lesser extent for Quintii. There were some issues there. And also, don't take assault guns and tanks lightly. Also, tank destroyers are not tanks just because there's a name tank in it. If there's anything right behind it, like say destroyer, or tank Kota or something like that, you know, it's not a tank. Anyways, this is it for today. Hope you learned something. Hope you had fun. If you did want to subscribe, tell your friends. Share it with everyone. If not, you know, send in a friend or provide some feedback in the comments. And if you wish to support the Propagandacast, donations are most welcome. There's a link for that in the description to PayPal. Or, you know, if you use Adblock, don't use that then. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.